back to the Prime Focus Goalkeeping channel. My name is Brandon Miller. I'm your host, and today we're going to give you the 3 best tips for you to figure out where you need to be positioned for crosses. Now, when we talk about crosses, we've got all types of crosses that we have to deal with. We have to deal with cutback balls from balls that are in a little bit closer. We deal with whipped in balls, whether they're whipped in away from us or whipped in right on top of us. And sometimes we have to deal with floated balls, right? Little dinks across the 18 that we may be able to go claim, or we may just need to move our feet. And sometimes balls get deflected and they're coming from all the way up high. And how do we deal with those? All right, but what we want to work on is where do we need to be positioned for each different scenario. So we're going to start out, we're going to talk about position where the striker, the attacker, whoever it may be, is about 6, 7, 8 yards away, right? Inside the 18, maybe they're driving towards the goal, maybe they're driving towards the end line, but inside the 18, where are we positioned for that? So these balls, what we have to understand with these balls, these are a lot closer to the goal, which means that we have a lot less reaction time, and there's also less options for the striker. So typically on these situations, we're going to be lined up somewhere close to our post. Now, some of the things that we try to avoid with our goalkeepers is them holding on to the post. We don't need to hold the post. We need both of our hands ready. We don't have a ton of reaction time, so both hands need to be ready to react towards the ball. Now, we also don't need to be standing right next to the post. Now, we do have to protect the goal, but we also have to understand that we have to protect a certain amount of the area off the post, right? Looking for a 3 or 4 yard area, just depending on how far back that ball is. So coming a little bit off that post to where I can still, if that ball's hit near, I can still react, but I can also get down and cover 3 to 4 yards to my right. All right, so our positioning here. Now, looking at this, what I like to tell my goalkeepers is your goal line becomes from the post to about 3 to 4 yards out. Right, so you should be in a position to where you can react quick to a shot, or you can react quick to a cutback ball, because we have to look at it. What are the striker's options here? They can shoot the ball, obviously. We're in a good position to make a save. A lot of strikers from this position want to cut that ball back, top of the 6, somewhere in the 6-yard box for a tap-in for their player, or maybe a defender has an unfortunate deflection and we get an own goal. All right, so that is a scenario. They could also cut the ball back to the top of the 18 where we could adjust our feet and get set for a save. Now, they could try to chip the ball over us, and that's one of the reasons why we're not so far back, is because they are so close. From this distance, Coach Pablo getting the ball up and over me is extremely difficult. If he does, he's going to have to loop it, and then I'll have time to move my feet. But him driving a ball, getting it up and over me to that far post, very unlikely. Now, if we're back here, makes it a little bit easier for him. But we also have to understand that being this close in the trajectory of the ball is going to make it really difficult for Coach Pablo to get over, right? So we're putting ourselves in a position, blocking the strike, being able to cut off this ball that's cut back to the 6 or somewhere inside the 6, and being able to move if that ball's cut back to a place where we can't make a play on it. Now, we're going to have Coach Pablo move back, going to move back to a ball just outside the 18. Now our positioning has to change. If I stay this tight to the post, we're going to have some issues. Coach Pablo, as an attacker, now has a lot more options now that he's a bit further back. All right, so he can still shoot. Highly unlikely, but it happens, right? So you still need to be in a position to where you can defend the post. Now, if I'm this tight to my post here, with Coach Pablo 18 to 19 yards out, he now has the option to play the ball far post. He can get this ball up and over me very easily to get the ball to the far post. So if I'm standing here and he plays that ball far, now I've got to get all the way across the goal, and I don't really have a chance to make a play on a ball that's played far post. So being right here doesn't really make a lot of sense. Is that cutback ball or that whipped in ball to the 6 still a possibility? Absolutely, right? But now it's starting to play the percentages of a ball out there. Could it be whipped in there? Yes. Could it be chipped far post? Yes. Is there a shot likely? No. So now we have to start to position ourselves to play the odds of where this ball is most likely going. All right, so understanding the immediate danger, the first danger that we have to defend against is that near post area. You think about doing a crossing and finishing drill in practice. Your coach always says, tells the strikers, near post run, far post run, right? That near post run is coming right in front of you, right? So standing back here will help us cover that far post, but the ball gets to the near post first, and we want to be able to defend against that first. So putting ourselves in a position where we feel comfortable defending the goal if there's a strike, stepping in for the cutback ball or the whipped in ball in the 6, but also if that ball's curled in, I can go claim it as a cross, or if the ball's played far post, I have less of a distance to work across to put myself in a position to make a save. All right, so if you notice, I'm not on the post, but I'm not in the middle of my goal. Now, Coach Pablo moves back to our last ball. Now, this ball is about 5, 6, 7 yards outside the 18. All right, now we're understanding where do we position ourselves. If we're the options here, right, are a little bit different. Can that ball get whipped in here? Yeah, but it's a very difficult ball to whip in to that 6, and we should be able to make a play on it if we drop ourselves back a little bit more, right? From here, we're playing the odds. What are the percentages? Ball's most likely going to be floated in, or it's going to be whipped in one side or the other, but we want to be able to make a play on it if it's in this area, or even if it goes far post. So positioning ourselves to where we're not too close to the near post, we can drop off a little bit more. Maybe we're a little bit more aggressive off our line, but in a position to where we can still get to this near post area, the immediate danger, but also be able to make more of a play on the ball that goes far post because there's a lot more time for that ball to get there. So the first tip for understanding your positioning is understanding the distance that the ball is away from the goal. 6 or 7 yards away, we're a little bit closer to our post, but as that ball moves back, we start to edge back and open up a little bit more to understand we need to be able to make plays on balls that are hit to our top of the 6, that are floated in, that are hit far post. All right, so that's our first tip, understanding the distance away from the goal. Second tip, understanding, are we looking at a right footer or a left footer? So Coach Pablo is going to come in a little bit closer. So we're going to deal with more balls outside the 18. So we're about 22, 23 yards out. All right, so Coach Pablo's on the ball. Coach Pablo's a right footer. All right, so if we think about striking the ball, whipping the ball in, crossing the ball, Coach Pablo's a right footer, so most likely it's going to be an outswinger. So I can be a little bit more aggressive off my line as opposed to dropping back in here. Now, understanding, we still have to defend the post. We still have to defend the strike. Coach Pablo could still shoot that, all right? The immediate danger is still here. So we're not just going to stand back here and anticipate Coach Pablo floating in a ball or whipping in a ball over here, all right? So we have to put ourselves in a position where we feel comfortable and confident getting to that near post space, addressing a ball that may be hit to this top of the 6, 7 yard area out, or a ball that's floated far post, while also still defending against the shot. Okay, so that's a right footer where we can be a little bit more aggressive off our line. Now, from my left side, if it's a left footer, now we're looking at more of an in-swinging ball, right? So if they hit that ball at the outside of their foot and they look to cross it, that ball's going to be curling back into us. So this is where we have to be a little bit more cognizant, 1, of a strike, but 2, of balls that are whipping in towards the goal, all right? So we may not be able to make a play on it, but we've got to be in a position to where we, 1, affect the striker. If they want to pick their head up and see what's in the box, we want to be in a position that deters them from putting a ball in a dangerous area here. We want them to put that ball a little bit further out, right? So not sitting back on our line because we still want to be able to make plays. But we have to be a little bit more cognizant that this ball's whipping in towards the goal as opposed to away towards the field. So that second tip, understanding, are we dealing with an in-swinger or out-swinger? What player's on the ball, and where is that ball most likely to go, away from us or towards the goal? Now, the third tip is a difficult one, but it's one that we still have to master. It's understanding who's in the box and where's the traffic and where's the ball most likely to go. Now, if Coach Pablo's back on his right foot here, strong foot, he's driving towards the end line, I'm going to put myself in a position to where I feel comfortable, that ball gets whipped in, I can make a number of different plays. Now, if most of the traffic is on my near post here, I'm going to position myself a little bit closer because I understand there's not a lot of danger far post. if that ball goes far post, I can either go get it or I can get across, and there's not going to be a lot of action that I'm going to see. But if most of that traffic is coming in near post, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive to my near post. Now, a lot of times you'll see in games, turns into maybe like a 2v1 or a 2v none situation where the attacker's gone down the outside and you've got another attacker coming down the middle. A lot of goalkeepers like to read that situation and anticipate a little bit. This isn't bad, right? If the striker picks their head up and see you there, they're going to try and squeeze that ball in a little bit higher, try to get that there. Now, the striker may see you cheating off your line a little bit and try to put one in near post. So we've got to put ourselves in a position to where we feel comfortable cutting off this whipped in ball to that attacking striker, but we also have to be able to recover here. All right, so our 3 basic tips: understanding how far the ball is away from the goal determines how tight you are to your post and how far we start to drop off. All right, understanding if that's a right footer or a left footer tells you how far you're going to be off your goal line. Are you going to be a little bit higher up? Are you going to be a little bit further back? And also understanding where the traffic is in the 18, where the danger is, and how do I play the percentages to put myself in the best position to prevent the danger. So those are the 3 best tips we have for positioning for crosses. That's all we have for today. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments section or reach out to us on our website. Until next time, stay focused.